What's up, everybody? It's Chris Portillo from the City of Downey Parks and Recreation, and today is going to be your very first bass lesson. All right, so I am very excited for this lesson because last week we went over piano, and it's very important to go over the bass in conjunction with the piano, just so the theory sticks, just so you know how songs are made and how melodies are formed. If you have no experience with the bass, don't worry, that's why this is your first lesson. But you know, this is just a really, really amazing, wonderful, beautiful instrument. And if you're in a band setting, it's the instrument that glues everything together. It makes everything sound good. It provides backup for your guitaring. It goes with the drums when you guys are just in it together and providing a nice, steady beat. The whole song sounds better. Some famous bassists are Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead, Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Bootsy Collins from Funkadelic, and Parliament, just many, many, many others. So you're in luck. It's a beautiful instrument. Let's go ahead and break down each piece of the bass. We'll go ahead and start with up here. Up here, it looks like the same as guitar. The whole thing kind of looks like the same as guitar. The headstock, except instead of 6 tuners, we have these 4 tuners right here. Moving just down the bass, again, like the guitar, we have our frets. So this is the 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then beyond. And then these dots are here to remind you this is the 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 12th, 15th, 17th, 19th. And that's how it goes. As you can see, instead of, like we said, there's only 4 strings right here. We're going to go over those in a little bit, but let's just focus on the rest of the body of the bass. Here is where we have the body of the bass, and these are your pickups. Your pickups are the microphones that record the vibrations of the strings so it can go into the amp. So if we were to look down here, we see our volume knob. I'm going to turn that on a little bit, and this is our tone knob. This just makes it go from muddy to less muddy, essentially, brighter to less bright. So, and then this is your bridge. This is where you'll feed the strings through. But now that we went over the parts of the bass, let's go ahead and zoom in so we can find out the strings of the bass. All right, so for the first string of the bass, this top one right here, it is going to be the E note. So we play open, this first one, it's just an E. We go down to the second one, the second string, that's going to be our A string. It plays an A note. Go one more down, that's our D string, and it plays the D note. And one more time down, you have the G string, and that plays the G note. Now, if that sounds familiar, that's because it is. If you've been following with our guitar lessons, the guitar also has an E, A, D, G, except they have 2 more strings down here, the B and the high E. But on the bass, all we need to worry about are these 4 strings. And the way you can remember them, the same way we remember guitar, is through the mnemonic device, Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye. So E, A, D, G, Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye. So on guitar, it would be Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie, for the B and the E. But here, we're just capping it off, goodbye. So, now that we have learned the strings of the bass, let's go ahead and move on, and we'll teach you the different ways to pick the bass or pluck the bass. All right, so now that we've learned the strings of the bass, we're going to teach you how to pluck the bass or pick the bass. So, I'm a guitarist first, so I like to play my bass with a pick. It's real simple, real easy. You don't have to think about it too much. So if that's what works for you, go ahead and do it. A lot of bassists like Mikey Way from My Chemical Romance, Kevin Parker Kevin Parker is Tame Impala, but he also uses a pick on the bass. So no shame in using a pick on the bass. You might get made fun of by some real bassists who insist that you need to use your two fingers. So let's go ahead and teach you how to pick with your two fingers. So in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and zoom in, and then we're going to rest our thumb on this pickup right here. Remember, the pickup is picking up the vibrations of the strings and making it go to the amp so we can hear it. It's like a microphone on the body. So we're going to rest our thumb on the pickup, and we're going to place first our first finger on the E string, and you can go ahead and play that. Now go ahead and do the same with your middle finger. Simple enough. Then once you think you have that, go ahead and shift down to the next string, where we'll place our thumb on the E string, and then you can pluck the A string. Now, an important thing to remember when you're playing bass is the follow-through of the when you're picking right here. So when you follow through, you're going to want to hit the string above. That's the follow-through right there. That's what we're looking for. See, I'm kind of pinching the top string a little bit. It's kind of what you want to do with the follow-through. Now, same thing if we were to shift the string down. Remember our follow-through. And with the G. Now, what a lot of bassists will do is they'll actually leave their thumb right here. This is the lowest their thumb will go. And they can play both like that. But always remember the follow-through. Now, some good exercises that you can start doing are if we were to go ahead and place your fingers, the fingers on your left hand if you're a right-handed player. The fingers on your left hand will go ahead and place on the 5th fret. So can you see that? And so the 5th and the 3rd are going to be very instrumental, very heavy in rock music, just this A note and then this F right here. It's going to come up a lot. So in order to practice your picking, we'll go ahead and play just those strum 1 2 1 2 1 2 until you got the hang of it. If you have a metronome by, or if you want to download a metronome app on your phone, please do that. It's going to help you intensely. So once you got a nice groove, can you feel it? So all I'm doing there is I am 1 2 1 2 1 2 on the open E, and then open 5, open 3. And then you can even shift down while you're playing. And then shift back up. And that's just for you guys to get started picking if you're not super comfortable picking. Like, I'm not super comfortable picking with my fingers. So that's a really useful exercise that I like to do to get myself very comfortable with playing with my two fingers instead of my pick, just because a lot of bassists are like that and will play like that. So again, It's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Open, 5, open, 3, open. All right, and once you feel like you have that down, let's go ahead and move on, and you're gonna learn your very first bass scale. Alrighty, and then now we're gonna go ahead and learn our first scale. So when we zoom in, we're gonna zoom in up here on the fretboard, and it's just, so we've been learning the major scale on the guitar, same thing on the bass. So I'm gonna go ahead and teach you the first position of the major scale on the bass, and then you'll see it's very similar to our guitar lesson videos. So for that, let's go ahead and zoom in and get started. So the first note, like the guitar, if you remember in the major scale, we're going to use our middle finger on the 2nd fret on that F sharp right there. Then we're going to take our pinky and do it on the 4th. Now, if you're noticing, wow, this is a lot harder than picking on the guitar, you're not alone. It is a lot harder than picking on the guitar. But that's okay. It's like anything, practice. So let's go ahead. And these scales are gonna make sure that your fingers are up to the task of picking. If you're hearing buzzing, that's not good. We need strong pinky in there. But let's go ahead and get back to it. So 2nd, 4th, then we're going to take on the next string, our first finger, our middle finger on the 2nd fret, and then again on the 4th with our pinky. And again, this should look very similar to the major scale on the guitar. And again, next string, start on the 1st fret with our index, skip the middle, go to our ring, finish off with our pinky, and the G string, same thing. And if you notice, that's where Turn On Your Love Light is by the Grateful Dead. So like anything, like we're learning, this is exactly what rock bands use. It doesn't take a lot of information to be able to make a song. Like we just showed you this F sharp major scale, and that entire thing, or the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes of it, that's already a song, a very famous song by a very famous band. Or around the same scale, no doubt you've heard or even so very basic stuff we're learning, and already I've showed you 3 instances of very, very popular songs just using the notes we've played here today. So like I've said, the bass is a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful instrument, and it's honestly going to unlock your the theory side of your brain, especially if you learn it in conjunction with the piano. Because everything's laid out there nicely and beautifully for you. And it's honestly the same thing here. So if you learn both together, or even all 3 together, if we include the guitar videos, you're going to be very, very, very knowledgeable in the world of music. If you want to start your own band, if you want to make your own music, this is all you need. You just need the very basics right here. Okay, so the final thing we'll learn on the bass today, and that'll cap off your very first bass lesson. I know we've already learned a lot. I know this video may be longer than some of our other ones, but you can always rewatch it, go ahead, pause it, until you feel ready to move on. But now we're actually going to start learning the the notes on the bass. Because unlike guitar, it's a lot more important that you know what notes you're playing. Because as a bassist, your job is to back up the guitarist and play root notes. Root notes are essentially the whatever, say if the guitarist is in the key of G, you're gonna wanna know, where's the key of G? Where do I play? So that's why it's a lot more important for you as a bassist to understand where exactly everything is on the guitar. Where exactly everything is on the bass, what notes you're playing, and all of that. So for instance, if the guitarist is doing a chord progression of G, A, F, or something like that, we'll know the root note is G right here, A, and then F. So if the guitarist is playing G chord, A chord, F chord, you're going to be G, 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 A, F, 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 G, 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 and just like that. So in order to get to know the fretboard, we'll go ahead and dive in and check it out. So the first thing I want to go over are the difference between half steps and whole steps. That's just a fancy word for distance along the frets right here. So a whole step, if we were to start from right here, a whole step would be this third fret. So if we were to start on the first fret, going up a whole step would be the third fret. Now, can you guess what going up a half step is? Boom, just halfway, boom, right there. Now, when we read our musical alphabet, and remember there are only A through G is in the musical alphabet, just those 7 letters. When we go through our musical alphabet, most of the letters, like say for instance, the distance between F and G is a whole step. And it's like that for most of the letters. However, there are 2 exceptions to that. Between B and C, and between E and F, you're only going to go up a half step. So zooming in, we'll see, remember this top string is our E note. And remember the exceptions to the rule between E and F and B and C, we'll only go up a half step. So going up a half step from open right here, just going up 1 fret. So open, first fret. So E, F, that is your F note right here. Then we'll go up a whole step, G. Now this third fret is your G. And next is A, because we restart. So we'll go up a whole step. What's after A? B. And what's after B? C. But remember our exception to the rule where we only go up a half step between B and C and E and F? Well, here's that exception. So from B to C, instead of going up a whole step like we've been doing, except for E and F, we're going half step. And then to finish it out, C, D, and then E. It starts all over again. So this note, this open E, is the same as this note on the 12th fret. It's just higher octave, so. Same note, same E, just goes up a higher octave. So one more time, very slow down. This is your open E note. We'll go up a half step to go to the F, a whole step to the G, a whole step to the A, a whole step to the B, half step to the C, whole step to the D, and whole step to the E, where it starts all over again. Right here you'll have your F, G, A, B, and then you can't go anymore. And the same rule applies to every single string here. So if we were to go to the A, this A one, this A note on the second string, go A, go up a whole step for B, half step for C, whole step for D, whole step for E. So that means this note, this E note, and this are the same note. Remember, this is just in a higher octave. All right, but between E and F, we only go up a half step. So this is F, G, and then it starts all over again with A. And you can do that for all of the strings right here. If you have a 5 or even 6 string bass, you can even do those with those strings right there. But for now, we'll go ahead and stop that and move on after the next lesson. And that was your very first bass lesson. I'm so excited that we're going to be going on this musical journey. Make sure you check out our piano videos and our guitar videos. That way you can broaden your horizons with learning just, almost all the instruments to start a band. Yeah, who knows? One of these days we might even bring in some drums and we'll teach you how to drum. But for now, thank you so much for watching these videos. We really appreciate the support. Hope you're staying safe out there. We want to see you play the bass. So make sure you upload all your videos to social media and you hashtag Downey at home so we can see. Other than that, take care everyone, be safe, and we'll see you next time.